So the Johnston, of course, is the Tier 9 Fletcher variant that was released over the summer. It was there was a lot of excitement about it, and then Wargaming pretty much killed the excitement with the way that they released it for sale. Um, but it is what it is. Did you end up, Mo? Did you like buy all the crates or whatever to get Johnston? Is that how you got it?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna name the player name in game, but you know him as Jay. Um, I am in college and I was broke as all hell with like $20 to my name at the time. I'm a huge fan of the IRL ship Johnston. I've got a
Okay.
lot of games in Fletcher, and
Okay.
I just messaged I was like, damn. In the general chat, I was like, damn, I really want this ship, but I'm kind of broke right now. So he gave me like $100, and he's like, here, just go buy the Johnston. Go, okay, thanks, man.
Gotcha. That's amazing. You're not the only person to have been gifted a Johnston. Pockington was gifted a Johnston from Sohn as well in his stream. So, yeah, because the Johnston was either direct sale for an exorbitant amount of money, frankly, or you had to hope that you picked it up in the different containers or whatever. So awesome. I'm glad to hear that you got the ship that way. I mean, you picked it up somehow. I'm a huge history nut as well, although for me, Johnston doesn't hold as high a place in me for history. But since we're talking about the history between the ship, do you want to tell us a little bit, Mo, about the history of the Johnston since you love it so much?
My God, I've been waiting for the moment.
There you go. Do it. Do it.
All right, so the invasion of Leyte Gulf, we had MacArthur's forces were landing on the islands. You had forces or naval forces to the south, which was Oldendorf's battleships. It was most of the old ships. A lot of ships are at Pearl Harbor. You
Correct.
had Halsey's task force. Halsey kind of added an addendum to the order so that if he found a way to hunt naval forces, he could leave MacArthur kind of on his own
Yep.
to land the ground forces. You had oh god, I can't remember. Admiral Kurita on the Japanese side. He was coming in.
Yes.
So the Japanese had three forces: north, central, south. Americans had north and south.
Yep.
What ended up happening was the south fought the south. It's part of the battle, but it's out of the scope of the Johnston.
Right. That's Surigao Strait.
Yes, the North Japanese force was made up of carriers with almost no planes on them, just as a distraction, and it worked perfectly. Uh,
Yep. That was under
Kurita's
Admiral
central,
Ozawa.
yes, sir. Kurita's central force was beaten somewhat by Halsey's carriers, and then they turned away. Halsey thought they were just retreating. They were simply retreating for the time being. They had turned back when Halsey wasn't looking. But they had turned away, and then Halsey took the bait and went after the carriers to the north. After that, he
Right.
left very, very few ships in the center.
Right.
And then you essentially, by the time Kurita's center force met Taffy 3, which was what Halsey had left, everyone else thought Halsey left some battleships there to guard them. They didn't. They left a couple destroyer escorts. I think 3 destroyers and 5 escort carriers, all armed for like ground attacks, so light bombs, nothing to sink ships.
Right.
So it was 8 o'clock in the morning, I think, and all of a sudden you have half of the Japanese Navy showing up on 3 destroyers, 2 destroyer escorts, and a couple escort carriers, and they're the only thing between them and the entire landing force on I forget the exact island.
Right. That's okay.
But
But yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
it was Johnston was one of those destroyers, and very lopsided fight. It ended up being, I mean, it was a victory, no doubt, because the Japanese turned back without destroying all of our landing troops. But it was kind of a Pyrrhic victory in that we lost a lot of that force and what it was.
Yeah, so basically Halsey was pulled away, like you said, from by Ozawa's carriers. Halsey was under this idea that he wanted his fast battleships to like get into an actual naval battle where the battleships would sink other ships. So when he saw Ozawa's force, he took the fast battleships with him. Fast battleships is considered anything that's above like 28 knots. So that's like the Sodex, the South Dakota class, and then the Iowa class battleships as well. So they take those along with the carrier fleet, which is mostly Essex class carriers that go 33 knots, and he takes them all up north to try to hunt Ozawa's carriers. I think they do sink a couple of them in the process, but the big thing is, yeah, it leaves the landing force under Kincaid completely like defenseless, right? And so you look on the surface and you see, and the distance, a Yamato, the battleship Yamato showing up, along with heavy cruiser supports and destroyers and all that kind of stuff. And you're thinking you're about to get fooked. And so you've got these escort carriers, as you were saying, launching planes left and right. Like they were launching aircraft. The aircraft for dropping ordnance, machine gunning, turning around, landing, rearming as quickly as possible. And then you've got destroyers like the Johnston that were trying to provide smoke screens for the carrier so that the battleship Yamato and other heavy cruisers can't engage. I think the Americans did lose one light carrier in the process. And then what's the specific story of the Johnston? Hi, Invictus and Zocker. Good to see you guys. Mo, what's the specific story of the Johnston?
Before we go, I'd like to say I just said I was in college, and I think it's funny for joining college. It was they ask you to write an essay on something, whether it's something you like, something you experienced. I ran out of space on that, and it was like 2 pages. I ran out of space on it, and it was on this topic. But
Mm-hmm.
specifically the Johnston, before any orders were given, their captain, Ernest Evans, said, "Fuck it, we ball," and just sent it towards the Japanese force. He laid smoke screens,
Mm-hmm.
as you just said, for the carriers, but he just started attacking them without any orders to do so. He got his ship shot to hell and back,
Mm-hmm.
turned around, started limping back, and then they gave the order to attack, and he said, "Well, we can't leave him alone," so he turned his ass right back to attack him again.
Mm-hmm.
And then once again kind of got shot up, made it out because of a rain squall, came out of the rain squall, and then there's the entire Japanese destroyer force trying to get into a perfect torpedo firing position on the American carriers.
Mm-hmm.
And Johnston just kind of says, "Well, whatever, I'm here and they're there," so they start shooting at them too, because
Yep.
they still have ammo, I guess. It was a big long fight where Johnston, as well as all the other ships that were there, but Johnston just kept going up against big odds.
Yeah. The big thing
And
is that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, eventually, she sunk at the end of the battle, and
Mm-hmm.
when the Japanese cruisers were going by her in retreat, a lot of the men in the cruisers were just standing there saluting the Johnston as they rolled by.
That's right. The ferocity of the American attack with the Johnston and with the light carriers and stuff, it made the Japanese think that there was more force behind what they could see. And Kurita basically decided to turn around when he had victory right in front of him. He was too afraid of losing more of the ships that he'd already lost. He'd already lost the Musashi to the attack from Halsey, for example, earlier, the previous, day or two. So he wasn't willing to risk what was essentially the remainder of the Japanese combined fleet. Unfortunately, if he would have pressed, he didn't know it, but if he would have pressed, he probably could have decimated the American landing force. But, oh well. But that's the history behind the Johnston. It's the true David and Goliath fight. In basically modern history, it's probably the best David and Goliath fight that comes to mind. So, anyway, now that we've talked about the history of the ship with some brevity, let's get into the build of the Johnston and talk about this. Yeah, so what's interesting about that, Electric? Dutch, hey, thanks for subbing. When it comes to the ship, it's got a characteristic called burst fire. Yeah, it's a great. Oh God. Dutch, you always have the best. You always have the best things that you type when you resub. So thank you for the 55 months again. You just not just supported our quest for the highest win rate, but also fueled the creation of the most artificially gruesome death picks in World of Warships history. Your commitment is a real MVP move, ensuring the seas never short of epic moments. Here's to many more battles and artistic victories. That's amazing, dude. And Meodathi, I'm glad that you're enjoying. We take a moment and recognize the history behind the ships, because honestly, that's why a lot of us are here. It's why I'm here. So let's get to the characteristics of the Johnston then. She is a Fletcher class destroyer, kind of obvious there. She's got the ability to mount either HE or SAP shells, and that's an important distinction. She does not have the traditional AP, but that also makes her really good when it comes to hitting other lightly armored ships, especially destroyers. She does have a burst fire capability. So instead of the typical kind of Fletcher style, like just constantly plinking away, she's got the ability to unload, and then there's a little bit of time in between. Now, ironically enough, for the Johnston, unlike other most other ships that have a burst fire, the burst fire actually has better DPM. So you typically want to turn burst fire on and just ignore it. Most other ships you have to think about when you want to do burst fire. Yes, we're going to be doing replays on Sunday as well. Yes.
Yeah, the only time where you actually want to turn off the burst fire is where you would need like one salvo more than the burst provides to kill the ship.
In other words, it's a very rare case, and most people will just set it and forget it. But you're right. That's exactly right. So let's get into the build. If you missed with the burst fire, probably all three are going to miss. Well, that's a good point too, Electric. But here's the deal: if you're playing the Johnston and you're not using burst fire, you might as well play Fletcher, because it's probably going to be a better experience for you. So
I mean, I get it. He has a point here. Like if you're at long range and you want to open up, you could fire one or two salvos to get your lead in before you turn it back on.
True,
Like,
and that's not a bad use.
How much you need to lead? Sure.
Right. And again, that means you have to be putting a lot more thought into this particular ship and how you play it. If you don't want to put the thought into it, then play a Fletcher, right? That's kind of the point I'm getting at. But you're absolutely right. So your build, you've got main armaments mod 1. You've gone for the engine boost modification because it does have an engine boost or defensive anti-air fire, which is a bit of a joke right now. So yeah, you go for engine boost. You've got aiming systems mod 1, propulsion mod 1, concealment, and main battery mod 3. Makes perfect sense to me. Does she have one torpedo launcher or two? She's got two now. Okay.
She has two. It's just longer range than Fletcher, but it's like a 3-minute reload, so I figured just spec into guns and
Yeah.
kill DDs.
Yeah, it's 13.5 kilometer range, whereas Fletcher's are 10.5. So yeah, it's
like,
longer range.
It's like the capability of the Yu-Yang torps, right? 13.5 and the
Yes.
damage value. But without them being deep water.
Right. It feels very much like that's how they utilized it. So that's okay. You've got Halsey. I noticed the pennant on it. So you got Halsey on it. It's a premium ship, so you might as well throw either Halsey or Ovechkin on. Ovechkin, you get the buff to survivability expert. Halsey, of course, if you get a double strike, that helps your detectability. And then if you get Confederate, that helps your torpedo tubes, main battery, and anti-aircraft. Torpedo tubes and main battery reload. So, I mean, that makes this ship pretty ridiculous.
If you can get it. I think it's pretty rare to get it in a destroyer.
It's tough to get in a destroyer because typically your fights are more one-on-one, and Confederate requires you to damage, 4 ships and do a good amount of damage to those 4.
I think it's 20% of the hit points to 5 ship. It might be 6, but I think it's more than 4.
Okay. I can't. It's been a while since I've looked at Confederate. Fletcher DPM equals Johnston with F key. Yeah, I think that's right. Okay, Neil, I don't have any replay spots today, at least that I know of, but we'll see where we go. We've got 5 set aside for today. So with Halsey, you've gone with preventative maintenance, last stand. You did Adrenaline Rush, Concealment, Dazzle, Survivability, and Fearless Brawler. So you don't like to use the smoke unless you have to disengage.
Well, I'm not gonna give it away. You'll see how I use the smoke here. But I have played a very large amount of Fletcher games, and I've kind of like narrowed down how I like to play Johnston to just go kill their DDs, and from then on, it's free farming on the rest of their team, and you can usually win a vast majority of your games that way. So
Yeah.
I use Dazzle because a lot of times I'll use my depth charges as almost a pseudo smoke screen. So you can still see me, but you can't see which way I'm turning in that moment, and it almost delays their reactions to my ship's movement changes by a couple seconds. So I use Dazzle so I can turn out and then use that.
I actually really love it. Like if you think about it, if you combine if you take the Fearless Brawl, you say, I want to fight the enemy destroyer straight up. I'm not gonna smoke up. I'm gonna use my Fearless Brawler to kill you as quickly as possible, and then I combine it with the Dazzle to make me lose less life because he's gonna miss 1, 2, 3, whatever many shells because of it. And I preserve hit points that way. I really like the combination of Fearless Brawler and Dazzle for a close range knife fighter. It's just it's 8 points combined. That's the main downside of it. Like,
very expensive.
You're pretty much giving up the radio location for it. Like that's
Correct.
what it is.
Correct. And so that's the thing is, if you want to hunt destroyers, you have to know where they are. So early in the game, you'll probably know where they are, right? They're going to go to the nearest cap. That's easy to hunt. But then later in the game, radiolocation becomes more valuable if you're trying to hunt down that last remaining destroyer, for example. Between these two skills, if you really cared about radiolocation, I'd probably drop the Dazzle. But I see the synergy between the two of them, and it absolutely makes sense. The pseudo smoke screen, we see that a lot in competitive, like King of the Sea, for example. We'll see a lot of players will drop roll-off depth charges as they're trying to dodge. It only works if the person that is shooting them is behind them. But, sure, why not? They're free.
Yeah. I started doing it like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and it's become such a habit that usually now whenever I'm spotted in a destroyer, my hand just hits the G key anyways, and it's you see it in this game, but you don't really see it used very well, honestly.
Yep.
It
Now
can definitely throw off. Like a great player will probably not get fooled by it, but an average or not so great player is probably gonna throw off his aim.
Right.
Because he doesn't judge the lead right anymore.
So I actually have the depth charges spec'd to the spacebar key, and because that's very easy for me to hit, and I'm going to be hitting it a lot, right? So I like doing that because I then respect, and I have the G key as one of my consumables. So if I remember right, I do R, T, G, H, because those are all easier for my index finger to reach, over Y, U, and I. Those are like way darn later. So I do everything I can to set up my finger so that I can hit as many important keys as possible. I don't like traveling on the keyboard because that slows me down with reaction. So just want to share that tip as well. I like using spacebar for depth charges. But anyways, G is fine. Blucher is the next duck air chip. Cool. So for signals, we've got fire chance signals. We've got the heal boost, or HP boost. And then we finish with ship speed. Okay. Now you're trying to conserve flags? Is that why you're only using 4?
Pretty much, yeah.
When you engage other... Sorry, go ahead.
I use it only 4 on this just because I play it a lot. But if like I'm doing clan battles or any kind of competitive, that's when I'll just spec out for flags. Okay.
When you engage destroyers, do you engage them with AP or with HE or SAP?
I've noticed SAP, always SAP off the rip, but a lot of times if they're running straight away from me, SAP won't do that much, so you should probably use HE for that.
Okay.
But I think I only use SAP this game.
Yeah, this is not Italian SAP like on the cruisers. Like your angles on the SAP are not as good, right? Or am I mistaken here?
I think you're right. I haven't looked into the angles on it. I've just noticed from playing it.
SAS can show it. I think the shipbuilder has it.
What?
The Autobones angles for the SAP.
Come on, click
If you
already.
expand the SAP shell. 65. It was there.
Oh, you saw it? Okay.
Yeah. 65 to 75. It's actually better
Oh, right
than I
here.
thought.
Ricochet angles. Okay, I see it now. So, anyway, the fire chance flags are good if you're going to switch to HE often. That's why I was asking, right? If you're not switching to HE, then it's a waste of flags. But your use case makes perfect sense. You want to try to hit them as they leave, start a fire, because then they can't go dark as easily. All right, Stream Raiders is ready. Let's go ahead and get the game started. So I'll drop the build viewer here. And then I saw, if you don't mind 1 sec, I saw a question from Stud Meffin. Is the only pro to playing Ragnar over Svea the fact that Ragnar doesn't have a Citadel? No. So Ragnar doesn't have a smoke, and Svea is a cruiser, by the way, and Ragnar is a destroyer. So Svea has the ability to smoke and radar at the same time, whereas Ragnar can only radar. Svea also has the pan-European fast torpedoes, whereas the Ragnar only has 1 torpedo if it rams. Ragnar's more maneuverable because it's a destroyer that cosplays as a cruiser, whereas the Svea is a cruiser that cosplays as a destroyer. Anyway, this is a arms race, random battle. You were going to say something. Go ahead.
Honestly, I can't remember.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Mo. I just wanted to try to answer that question
no worries,
before.
Man.
So looking at your setup, you are middle tier, just like the previous game. No carriers and no subs to deal with. And 4 destroyers for you to beat up on?
I remembered, actually. Warning, it gets somewhat homoerotic between me and the friendly Fletcher in this game in chat, so it's up to you whether you want to see that or not.
I guess it's a good thing I moved the stream chat over to where I did, huh?
What are you doing? Two major Fletchers trying to make a baby Fletcher or something?
I said I love Fletchers, man. I don't discriminate which ones.
All right, fair enough. Whatever.
I could say something very, very controversial here.
Yeah, please don't.
It's it's not what you think.
Anyways, subs and carriers make the games great. Absolutely, they vary the game up and make it interesting.
What is this smoke for?
I was gonna ask that.
I knew you'd ask that. So in arms race, a lot of times, especially when there's a heal buff where it is, you'll see cruisers or battleships go and grab it, because destroyers can just run so much further than that, and like I'm going to do, counter theirs as they grab it. So a lot of times what you'll see in randoms is your friendly cruisers or battleships will go and grab that, and then they'll get stuck broadside with that island behind them, unable to turn out for a bit. So I wanted to give our battleship smoke if he wanted to go grab that and not get stuck broadside.
Did you communicate this? Because your battleship's shooting.
I'm well aware. Yeah, that was where I looked back and I said I shouldn't have done that. I had this idea of great teamwork in my head, where the Fletcher would follow me forward and we'd both gun down their DDs. And the battleship would grab that, and it just didn't work that way.
That's why I stopped doing this. Like, the random average battleship player is not gonna capitalize on something like that, and in the end, all you're doing is wasting a smoke, which you could probably need right now.
Well, you could definitely use a smoke. Now, there was a little bit of a delay when you started shooting your guns. I'm curious why.
I fully expected the Akazuki to come out in like a second or two, and I really wanted to kill him because he had higher DPM than the black. So if that were the case, it would have been great what I did, but it wasn't, so it just didn't work out that well.
Yeah.
Fletcher also caught one of those torpedoes you spotted. That's
yeah, you can see me.
That's where you start getting really, really happy.
Anyways, I find it interesting that the black is continuing to charge, and to me, I would value that black higher because of its ability to radar, more so than the Akazuki. I mean, I get the DPM argument, But I just think about utility here, and the black provides a lot more utility for their team, right?
Be completely honest here, you should have been dead right there, right there.
Oh God, yes.
Oh, 100%, yeah. But I knew my thoughts going into this was I was kind of bored, and when I do that, I really push myself in the limits of the ship. So I knew that even if I survived on 1 hit point, it was fine because we had the heal, and I made it on a little more than 1, so we're good.
Crappy Meat Plow, how is it going over on YouTube? Fletchers do need loving, yes. Well, now you're kind of no longer a gunboat, right? At least unless you're going to use your smoke for yourself. Hey, look, you're using your smoke for yourself. Now, you're not zoomed in all the way. The
I think I would
audacious.
have liked to get a little bit closer before using that smoke, because you don't really have anything in range except for the battleship, which is about to go behind the island, and you're purely relying on your Fletcher to spot it.
Well, fortunately for Mr. Mo, you can see why he smoked up. The Akizuki was a big concern, and the Akizuki turned around and pushed. So that's actually what I was going to say too, was I like you're being a little bit more cautious with your use of that smoke.
Enemy destroyer sunk. That's how it's done.
And you actually encouraged the Akizuki to charge you because you were so far back, you wanted to get in range with torps.
That's a good kill. It's still like basically 1 minute and 40 of that smoke is going to complete waste.
I mean, he got a kill out of it, so I don't consider that
I mean,
a waste.
yes, but he would have, like, if he gets a little bit closer, like, he outspots the Akizuki by, I think it's like 400 or 500 meters.
Right, and his risk of dying increases by like 5.
I was gonna say I don't want to tempt that fate with what 500 hit points.
Right.
I mean, you're shooting the Akizuki from the smoke. You're running the risk of getting blind fired by it and dying it anyway.
Not
Which
with the
he
Fletcher
obviously
spotting.
didn't do because
He had other things to do.
Randoms.
He was shooting the Fletcher, as Mo said. So yeah, I completely agree. Like, you smoke up where you did. That was smart.
okay. I mean, different opinions. It worked out.
Yep.
I mean,
did.
just saying, like, it's my whole gripe with American smokes. They last so long, but you rarely get to use the full duration anymore.
Yeah, I
Well-
prefer Pan Asian too, but
Yeah, I mean, with the proliferation of subs and they can ping in your smoke, that's a thing. So that automatically reduces their ability. And then people always just luck chuck torps into smoke screens. So, you know, I think if you play the ship with the intention of maximizing your smoke, unfortunately, there's just too many cases where you're just going to get wrecked. So you can see that the gun's there and then the depth charges right away. You're
Nice
hoping he's
experiment.
not going to shoot back at you. He doesn't.
yeah, I know this was interesting to me. Why he
You know,
didn't.
he was torping
I
you.
guess I know why he didn't. He saw his smoke. He saw they could go behind and go dark.
He was torping, see?
I was-
There's the torps.
And if you are the enemy destroyer here and you've seen anything, like, you gotta shoot and kill a destroyer.
Sunk an
Like,
Yeah, I was kind of trying to use that smoke too, so I was really hoping he would go behind it,
Mm-hmm.
and he did.
He did. Yonde detecting you on radar.
it's randoms for you. People not capitalizing on their opportunities.
Oh my god, I can see the chat now. Oh my god.
I warned you.
That's all you guys' fault, chat. You weren't active and so we saw it. Oh my god. Snowboard, thanks for the Twitch Prime sub, man. Well, what's the name of the video? Or that's the name of the video? I climaxed?
You know-
Oh my god.
You know,
I think it should be playing with my Johnston, to be honest.
I mean, no need to capitalize. I don't know. My God. And by the way, you're just sitting here like not even being shot at. This is wild. Why is the Yonde not caring about it?
He
No,
got
he's
shot
not.
at for a while, and they all missed and gave up. And I really like. It's hard to pinpoint it, but I guarantee you, at least some of these misses are because of the dazzle.
Yeah. Valkyrie, that was. You never know what you're gonna get on this channel. Let me tell you. Luckiest Johnston. Oh my God. Calling a Johnston is a euphemism in this part of the UK. It is in this part of the US as well.
I think everybody knew what he did there.
Oh my God. Anyways. It does. Absolutely does.
I think if you say you're playing with your Johnston, there is only one meaning.
Certainly, you mean in World of Warships, right?
Of course. Of course.
Of course.
Of course. It'd be even better if you actually hit some torps, get some floods.
You mean
I don't need him.
penetrate some stuff?
Yes, the euphemism is Johnston, but or Johnson, not Johnston. But you know, I mean, in a hurry, it works. Even dead, he is doing his job. Almost dead. Oh yeah. This is really risky here, but okay. Well, there's only 4 ships left, and you see them
The
all.
smoke is in the way. The smoke is
Right.
in the perfect position.
Right. There's only 4 ships left. That's what I'm saying. You have to look at the number of ships left and look at the mini-map to make sure they can't see you. And they can't right now.
The only danger with shooting like this from behind the smoke is that you don't see how much longer the smoke is lasting. So if
Yep.
you're not careful, you're suddenly spotted because
Hey!
the smoke is gone.
There's the torpedo and the fireworks. And you better
I
heal.
agree.
Or smoke. I mean,
I agree with Grunty here, but also that's why you can see me zooming out between every shot is to check that smoke.
yeah, you're trying to figure out which way the smoke screen is going to expire and when does it expire first. Still, there's a Salem, which could be a problem.
Yeah, this game is way too close for comfort still.
It is. Yeah, I was thinking engine boost too. Like, you don't want to sit there, unfortunately.
The problem is you can't actually get these buffs anymore because the Yamato is way too close.
You're thinking about doing it. Don't do it. You do it.
About it.
Oh
I
my
was
God.
Thinking about the history, I was like, I'm in a Johnston easy Yamato. It's gotta
Yeah, but
happen.
you're shooting a Bismarck. That's the wrong history.
Doesn't mean
There
I wasn't
you go.
thinking about it.
And sink the Yamato. Yes, there you go. There you go. So we title this to historically accurate Johnston. Historically accurate. I don't know. Whatever. I'm thinking just one word: climax, and being done with it. I actually want to go back to and screenshot your fireworks coming off, and then call it climax.
Which one was that, by the way? Was it the butterfly? Or was that the... Oh no, was it the... Oh, that was the Halsey proc from...
Yeah.
Sorry. I
Yeah,
was
Halsey
like going
proc.
by the kill effect, like in fireworks. My
I think
bad.
this was one game before I put the fireworks on that ship just to be funnier.
Aw, that would have been amazing if you did.
It would have been.
Ah, look at that. 2 torpedo hits.
I'd actually be Oh yeah, you're doing it. Shooting HE here, trying to get the fire.
Tree suck. He's got HE going.
Yep, I noticed.
I purposefully tried to get spotted here so I could shoot faster because I noticed his turns weren't turned towards
I mean,
me.
you are spotted, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, that fearless
So,
brawler
like-
really comes in handy here. And the adrenaline rush.
I'd
And the
argue that's
reload
better
buffs.
than
The
anything.
way you play it, I'm still like, you're still using smokes a lot. So overall, I'm not sure if the Fearless Brawler, the 10%, actually is better than the flat 5% you could get from the main battery AA Specialist. Like,
Sap on the
I will
bow?
say, I've tried a lot of different Fletcher builds, and this is the one I've just found that works best.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
close. Like if you mainly want to fight the destroyers for these fights against the destroyers, the fearless is better.
Okay, so this is kind of fun. A Yamato and a Johnston dying at the same time. Not historical, but you know, that's okay.
I told you I had to do it.
Yeah, you did have to do it. What a machine gun indeed, Valkyrie, indeed. But I do really feel like I want to go back and grab that. I think I do want to go back and grab the fireworks show.
You just want the clickbait.
Don't we all want the clickbait? Just saying.
Johnston Climax. Climaxing Johnston.
Now Grunty's like playing around with it in his mind.
As long as it's not his hands.
Oh
Sorry.
God. All right. And we are now dumpstering this replay. No, anyway.
I'm so glad I didn't say it.
2 million. Hands where everything we can see them, Grunty. Anyway, 2 million credits over 200,000 damage. You got high caliber, and this is damage 6 or more enemy ships. And damage dealt to each ship has to be at least 20%. Okay, there you go. And then you've got your high caliber. 3 kills. We know what is happening when they ain't speaking. That's right. And then look at that. You came in first. Surprise. By just a tad. I'm sure you sent this to your friend and said, thank you so much for the gift. Right?
I didn't actually.
You
I
should.
put it on I did. Well, I put it on WoW's Replay's website, and then some. I don't know the name of the guy, but it was some random like Replay's YouTuber just picked it up and posted it. So I sent that to him though.
Panzerknacker or what's the other guy?
It wasn't Jingles.
It was
No.
no.
Did they give you credit?
I mean, they don't know my YouTube because it's just.
I mean,
personal,
like often
Yeah.
they just even don't show the player name.
Oh, yeah.
but they gave me credit. It's fine.
That's good. That's good. It's one of the things that is unfortunate with that side is people will take and just get content off of it and then, you know, whatever. Anyways, you didn't kill the Yamato, but you did almost 100,000 to it, so that's pretty fun.
Not
50
for the
hits
Yamato.
sap. Not for well,
I've
that's okay.
secured enough other kills. I can give one up. It's fine.
Hey, God blessed his gun, okay? You want to talk about Johnston references and Tundra? Anyway, so here's the Iowa, Bismarck. There's the Ayande. You had a lot of broken things. Look at this here. I mean, this is like true history too. Like, look at this. That's wild. And then you took 31,000 damage. You almost had a dreadnought. If you actually managed to survive this, you would have had a dreadnought.
I couldn't let it happen.
Anyway.
It was too good to feed it to the Yamato.
Yeah, and almost 1 million potential damage. And let's not forget the battle duration of 1337. This game was indeed elite.
I think this is also a great example. Like a lot of players at the start, when they get punished so much and are almost dead, just give up.
I see a lot of people do this in destroyers, and the Akazuki is a prime example of it. They get beat up, like you said, and what do? They turn around and push again just to go and spot themselves. I don't know why they think they have to do that, because once you take the damage, you absolutely want to be more cautious, as we had that discussion with your smoke and everything like that. So, I mean, this is absolutely peak play. Some might say the climax of what you can get in the Johnston. So let's get the replay render
Haven't we
going.
make the climax enough?
Nope, that's the wrong one. I mean, well,
Oh, you could see the chat in the render. Let's go.
God damn it. Now I'm really afraid to do it. Okay. Just do
Move
it
the
anyway.
camera, quick! No, don't do it.
Quick, Mom, get the... Oh, wait, move the camera. Yes. Anyway, I'm going to watch this again while you guys are doing this and enjoying chat. Oh my god. I'm gonna go ahead and get that fireworks one. We don't need to ask for a title for this if it goes to YouTube, because yeah. Well, Mr. Fluffy, you have competition for the vote. Let me just put it that way.
Intelligence data. What's your blind? Sunk an enemy destroyer.
Let's see, it was right about when you got the torpedo hit.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship.
You're gonna get at least one vote, Fluffy.
All stations.
I'll vote for you, Fluffy.
There you go.
You can always vote for yourself. That's your
Yeah,
one
most
vote.
people do. Okay, I think we're getting close to it. Yeah, see, there it is on the video right there, the part where you're being cautious. You're in
You
front of
really
that
need
island
to
now.
work on the phrasing. Getting close to the climax is not what you want to say on stream.
Okay, sorry. We're getting close to the fireworks. Is that better?
Yes.
I feel like that's code for something, Zach. Is it?
I wouldn't know. I mean, ask Grunty. He's the one who brings it up. Mine was okay. I wanted mine for more educational. Well, I mean, that's why YouTube exists, is for educational purposes. And me, Murray. So, you know.
I say this is much more memory than educational. I just thought
It
it'd be
is.
fun.
But there's also some good education to it too, right? The use of Dazzle and Fearless Brawler, how that plays into it. We talked about your positioning and your ability to like kind of suss out where the enemy destroyers are. You know, a little bit of a delayed reaction at the start, but beyond that, there's really not too much to comment on about like, hey, fix this, you know, like whatever. Pac, usually there's about an hour to two, probably an hour and a half to 2 hours delay between them posting a dev blog after announcing it on stream.
I think this is actually very educational. Just
That's
for
what I'm
the fact
saying.
That how do you stay alive and have impact after you get chunked down so much? Like you basically did 200,000 damage while being down to, was it double-digit hit points?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it triple? I don't know. Like it was very low.
Yep, you got to stay ready for action at all times, even if you're low on hit points, and you got to be able to utilize everything to the maximum. So yeah, that's good. Okay, right about here is where you're gonna get it. I think. Well, go on, hurry up.
Faster.
There we go.
Faster.
All right, we got the fireworks. It was a good game to
I know
watch.
it's in your name, man, but
Ah, there we go. Okay. Yes, Maruk, they are. They announced that yesterday on their stream. Here we go. Yeah. So you guys can kind of see the picture I'm thinking about. What do you think? I think that looks kind of nice, huh? You're shooting, and then you got the fireworks going. You know, the other option is I can go real low. Not that low. Come on. And we can try to get a shot here with the Halsey pennant looking up through the smoke at the fireworks with the American flag there. America! That is perfect. It's hard to tell what the ship is, though.
Without the smoke.
Actually, here we go. If I tilt down a little bit, this actually looks really good. You got the fireworks in the background. I don't know. What do you think, Mo? You like that?
I think Fluffy said it best.
Perfect for Mo's climax. Indeed. Indeed. But, yeah, I think some variation of this screenshot is what we'll use. 'Cause
You know what would this make even better? If
What?
he was launching the torpedoes right at that moment, and they
Yes,
come out of the launcher.
Yes, unfortunately, we had to wait for a torpedo hit to initiate the fireworks. But it is
Sorry,
what it
Grunty.
is.
I'll go back and play it again. Don't worry.
Good. I expect it to be done in 30 minutes.
Whoa, hey now. I mean,
I
Anyway.
wasn't gonna touch that one.
yeah, let's not. Let's just exit the game now. And guys, it's been a lot of fun. I'm gonna go to the stream ending screen and no. Oh my god. Oh, I forgot it's gonna
Damn.
cause all those things to pop up. Oh well.
You know what's really sad?
What?
I didn't even mean it in that way. That was completely an accident.
I'll say I meant it that way. I'll take.
There you go. There you go. You can take the hit. You'll take the hit. All right. Well, thank you very much for sending in that replay, Mo. That was a lot of fun to look at as we all got some good laughs out of it. And appreciate the support, man. That was really nice of you to sub. What was that, last week, right? Sunday, I think.
I think. Yeah.
So, cool. Thank you much.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. Y'all have a good day.
You too.